Hello everyone, how are you? My name is Daniel, and this professor is Dr. B. And my presentation is about the female reproductive system. As we know, the reproductive system is very important in male and female. So let's start for the picture. Do you guys see this picture? And there have very main part in the middle of the center of this part. So this part we call the uterus, and they looks like the pear shape. And the top we call the fundus. The uterus we have the three portion, the three part. They including like fundus and body. The body is the main part in the uterus, and we have the cervix. This part, and the fundus they have contain with the fallopian tube. So the female, they have two fallopian tube. Also, they call the uterine tube, and they contain with the ovary. So how many ovaries in there? They have the two ovaries in the female reproduction system. And as we go ahead, in the last part, we call the vagina. So let's go the first. The female internal genital organ, we have the four main parts. The first is vagina, the second is the uterus, and the third is fallopian tube. So also we call the uterine tube also. So the last one is the ovaries. Okay, let's start to know the vagina. So you guys can to see the PPT. So the vagina is the fibromuscular tube with the stratified and the squamous epitheliums connecting the external and the internal organ of the reproduction. So that's is mature like the regular when the female they after like 17 or 16 after the second age is going to 8 to 12 centimeter in length. Mm-hmm. And the structure of the vagina, has the three layers. So all the layer covering of the areolar tissue. So the middle layer of the smooth muscle, and the inner layer is stratified and the squamous and the epithelium. As we know, the vagina, they have two functions. So the first function is asymmetrical of the penis during the toilet. And another function is very important for the female, and is passageway through which the baby passage during the childbirth.
Right.
Okay, let's go another for uterus. So as we know, we have to learn about the uterus. So the location is behind the cavity between the uterine bladder and the rectum. So the shape is same thing like the pear shape, right? And before, as we start, I told you the fundus, they looks the dome shape. So we have the two dome shape in our body. Did you guys remember? Another one is covering to hold our stomach and the lungs. Did you remember that shape is called dome shape also? So in this part, the fundus, they like going up. It's same thing like the dome shape. So usually the regular size is about 7.5 centimeter long and 5 centimeter breadth, and part of about 2.5 centimeter thickness. The weight is 30 to 40 grams. That's we're talking about the division of the uterus is division into three portions: fundus, body, and cervix. So the body is the main part. That's the picture. The vagina, and there is a cute picture too. The cervix and the body and the fundus. And that is very important of the structures of the uterus. So the uterus, we have 3 layers of the tissue. They're composed of the 3 layers of the tissue. The inside there, the first one is the out layer of the uterus. We call premetrium and premetrium, and the second is myometrium, and the third one is endometrium. So that thing looks like our heart. Did you guys remember last module we started the heart? We have the 3 layers. It's same thing like precardium and the myocardium and the endocardium.
Good.
And I think the function is not different, but it looks very similar. And this thing, I just want to let you guys know the endoperitoneum there is very important because it's developed functionally into 2 layers. The first layer is the functional layer is the upper layer, reach the blood vessel, and this layer is during the menstruation. And the second is the base layer, not lost during the menstruation. Is the layer from which the first functional layer is regenerate during each cycle. Look at that picture. There is the organ of the female reproductive, and looks like our heart. They have the 3 different layers. There is out layer is premetrium, this part, like light part, and the inner is endometrium, the inner layer, like this one, very right. And the myometrium is the middle layer. Anyone have some questions? Okay. So let's talking about the function of the uterus. So the very important of the function of the uterus is the menstruation. So I think all the girls, they know menstruation, what that means. So the menstruation after puberty, the endometrium of the urine goes through a regular monthly cycle of change, the menstruation cycle. And the second, to prepare a bed for the egg, if they have. And the third, to nurse to developing embryos, the embryos during the pregnancy. For like, if they have couples, they want to get some babies and they want to pregnancy, they developing for the embryos. And the next is to expel the food. And the last one is to prevent the blood flow to the ovaries. The fallopian tube, also called urinary tube. There is about 10 centimeters long and extended from the side of the urinary between the body and the fundus. And the end of each tube has finger-like. Did you see this part? The finger-like, and we also call the fimbri. And it's also, they have the 3 layers of the urinary tube, the out layer, in middle layer, and the inner layer. See that picture very clearly, like our fingers. Mm-hmm. This for how many days? The day 1, day 2, 2, 4, 5 how the cycle from the transfer to this. Okay, let's to know about the last point part of the ovaries. The ovaries is the primary sex organ in female, so this is very important. And the woman has 2 ovaries. The picture, 2 ovaries. Under the structure of the ovaries, we have 2 layers of the tissue. It's medulla and the cortex. There's the ovaries. They have the 2 tissues. One is right here, we call the medulla. And another part we call the cortex. Okay, today my presentation is very important of like 2 things. So let's to see the computers. So I will to explain to you guys. So please just forget this is LH, it's not LSH. I think it's getting my mistake. I just want to explain like how lady they have like the female's menstruation cycle about before the 14 days and after the 14 days what happened in the female reproduction system. So the pervolatory perhaps. So let's start to when this function is happening and the over body for the system we have start from the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus, they release the hormones from our, like right here, the hormones they call used to GnRH. That's the hormones to tell the hypothalamus to get, you have to release the anterior puberty to release the another hormones, FSH, to tell the follicle with ovum mature. I guess get my point?
Yeah.
And it's released the estrogen. And that's in that process is many of follicle die in this process because we just have 1 follicle, only single follicle leaves to squirt ovum. And estrogen release the cavities LH. This is now known as is LH surge. And then after 1 day, the ovulation occurs. Have some question? No? Okay, and the last part is ovulation. For what's the ovulation is about day 14, almost like the 14th day. So after LH surge, ovulation occurs. So the ovums release from the follicle by rupture. And LH transform the rupture follicle into corpus luteum. The corpus luteum secrete estrogen and progesterone. So the endometrium thickness and the raising andro and progesterone inhibit release of LH and FSH from the pituitary.
Pituitary gland.
From the trigland, yeah. So there is like a homeostasis, like they have to tell them, you need to stop.
Feedback.
Anybody have some questions? No? Thank you, everybody. There is my presentation. I'm ready.